Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Oh yeah, you're right. 6:30. 6:30. Yep, you're right.
Yep. So yeah. So here we go.
All right. So let me write
We're
down.
live on YouTube. That's good. And going over to the Kindle to our book. Did you want to play a song or
Yeah,
anything?
I'm just gonna play with the introduction to 181. You know the
Oh man, this is my favorite lesson is lesson 181.
oh yeah, oh excellent. Well,
That
yeah,
is the my favorite lesson of it. Absolutely, to me, it broke the code. It just said, "Oh, this is the way." And so, if you wanted to play that, that'd be great.
all right. Well, that sounds like a good idea. All right, let me just get it set up. I was gonna play the intro, but I might as well just play 81. Hold on. All right, let me just get this one here. All right, I'm gonna put the music on, and then I'll put the sound, sort of meditation. Yeah, I'm not sure I'll just stop and go afterwards. But we'll talk about it and ease our way into Joseph Banner.
Okay, and I love that music that you play too with this. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
before school. All righty, you ready?
Yep, ready.
Everywhere, everyone. Today we're doing Joseph Benner. Today's Joseph Benner, The Way Out. The Way Out. It's the second book in his collection of books. We finished the Personal Life, and now moved to The Way Out, which so far has been it's typical of the same voice and fun. And I'm gonna play the lesson of the day from the course now, and then we'll get to it. So all right, let me just get. And I shared this down already too. Yay!
Lesson 181. I trust my brothers who are one with me. Trusting your brothers is essential to establishing and holding up your faith in your ability to transcend doubt and lack of sure conviction in yourself. When you attack a brother, you proclaim that he is limited by what you have perceived in him. You do not look beyond his errors. Rather, they are magnified, becoming blocks to your awareness of the self that lies beyond your own mistakes and past his seeming sins as well as yours. Perception has a focus. It is this that gives consistency to what you see. Change but this focus, and what you behold will change accordingly. Your vision now will shift to give support to the intent which has replaced the one you held before. Remove your focus on your brother's sins, and you experience the peace that comes from faith in sinlessness. This faith receives its only sure support from what you see in others past their sins. For their mistakes, if focused on, are witnesses to sins in you, and you will not transcend their sight and see the sinlessness that lies beyond. Therefore, in practicing today, we first let all such little focuses give way to our great need to let our sinlessness become apparent. We instruct our minds that it is this we seek, and only this, for just a little while. We do not care about our future goals, and what we saw an instant previous has no concern for us within this interval of time wherein we practice changing our intent. We seek for innocence and nothing else. We seek for it with no concern but now. A major hazard to success has been involvement with your past and future goals. You have been quite preoccupied with how extremely different the goals this course is advocating are from those you held before. And you have also been dismayed by the depressing and restricting thought that even if you should succeed, you will inevitably lose your way again. How could this matter? For the past is gone, the future but imagined. These concerns are but defenses against present change of focus in perception, nothing more. We lay these pointless limitations by a little while. We do not look to past beliefs, and what we will believe will not intrude upon us now. We enter in the time of practicing with one intent, to look upon the sinlessness within. We recognize that we have lost this goal if anger blocks our way in any form. And if a brother's sins occur to us, our narrowed focus will restrict our sight and turn our eyes upon our own mistakes, which we will magnify and call our sins. So for a little while, without regard to past or future, should such blocks arise, we will transcend them with instructions to our minds to change their focus, as we say, "It is not this that I would look upon. I trust my brothers who are one with me." And we will also use this thought to keep us safe throughout the day. We do not seek for long-range goals. As each obstruction seems to block the vision of our sinlessness, we seek but for surcease and instant from the misery the focus upon sin will bring, and uncorrected will remain. Nor do we ask for fantasies, for what we seek to look upon is really there, and as our focus goes beyond mistakes, we will behold a holy, sinless world. When seeing this is all we want to see, when this is all we seek for in the name of true perception, are the eyes of Christ inevitably ours. And the love he feels for us becomes our own as well. This will become the only thing we see reflected in the world and in ourselves. The world which once proclaimed our sins becomes the proof that we are sinless, and our love for everyone we look upon attests to our remembrance of the holy self which knows no sin and never could conceive of anything without its sinlessness. We seek for this remembrance as we turn our minds to practicing today. We look neither ahead nor backwards. We look straight into the present, and we give our trust to the experience we ask for now. Our sinlessness is but the will of God. This instant is our willing one with his.
There it is. That's 181.
Pretty phenomenal lesson.
Yes, it's a great lesson.
To me, it absolutely explains how we make the shift. You go through, you study all this studying and read all these books and practice this and practice that, but really how you make the shift. And what does he say? The miracle is a shift in perception. And
Right.
so this is the miracle, is the shift in my perception from seeing my brother as sinful, and therefore seeing myself as sinful, because it's a projection. I'm projecting my own thought of sin out onto the world and onto my brother, and that is how I'm experiencing myself.
Right.
So he's really telling us, if you want to experience the Holy Christ in your brother and yourself, and you want to see a world where that is nothing but love, uh, he says, when seeing this is all we want to see, when this is all we seek for in the name of true perception, are the eyes of Christ inevitably ours, and the love he feels for us becomes our own as well. This will become the only thing we see reflected in the world and in ourselves. So this is the huge leap for me. And we just went through all those uh, review lessons. God is but love, and therefore so am I.
Right.
And we come out on this end, and now we're looking at, now that I recognize that I'm love and the same as God, then the only missing part of the picture is my relationship with my brother.
Right.
And so now we're going to talk about how
It says it right
our
over here.
brother.
It says it right here. When you attack a brother, it says, you proclaim that he is limited by what you have perceived in him. You do not look beyond his errors or his sins. Rather, they are magnified, becoming blocks to your awareness of the self that lies beyond our own mistakes and past his seeming sins as well as yours. So you live inside the perceived negativity that you think that there's him. And yourself, you see yourself, you see you and your brother as just pure negativity, in sinful and miserable and so forth. And then you sit in that. You just sit and you sit in that. And you think it's you. And the miracle is to de-identify yourself with that
Yes.
and shift away from it and say, all right, you know what? There's no saying, have as many excuses for somebody else and rationalizations for somebody else as you have for yourself. When someone does
Say that
something,
again. Have as
have as
many.
many excuses and rationalizations for somebody else as you have for yourself.
Okay. Yeah.
You do something wrong. Don't you usually rationalize it for yourself? A lot of people do that. Well, I did that because of this. I did that because of that. That's why I did it. I mean, I'm not a bad person.
Yeah.
But somebody else doesn't tell you. You're not as not as nice.
Right. Right. And yeah.
Rationalize it for somebody else too. If someone else does something, well, yeah, but they could have done this. It could have been because of this. It could have been because of that. You're seeing the self behind the sin.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And recognizing that, they are doing the same thing that I'm doing. You're exactly right. It is. Yeah, exactly. So that's why, um, when we change our focus and begin to look, like you said, actually expecting that my brother is innocent, just
Yeah,
expecting that
right,
he's not trying to hurt me or do anything.
right, right. And one of the best ways to get to the innocence is just try to make it up, make it ways he could be innocent.
Yeah.
Because basically those there aren't many ways somebody's innocent. He's
Well,
innocent. You just somebody's there's something wrong. Well, I like that person because of what the person did, and suddenly you get an insight into what the person really was doing.
right. Right. And,
You
and,
see,
and here's the deal, though. We're the ones who are saying what they did was wrong.
exactly.
And that's based on what?
Our morality, our
Yeah.
personal code,
Yeah.
and it's personal. And then we try to convince others to have our same personal code, and then it becomes a collective code. And it started somewhere with a bunch of people who were very persuasive.
Yes. Yes.
Usually a bunch of men that are very persuasive,
Yeah.
and then they're taking over.
Well, and you say that and about men being very persuasive, but what I find so interesting, Wayne, and this is kind of off the subject here, but just that since you brought that up, came to my mind, is that women raise children.
Mhm.
Your mother raised you. I don't know what your relationship with your mother was, but the
No, she
woman
raised me.
is the one who's with the child,
Oh yeah,
teaching the child morals and values. So if the woman believes that that the man is always right, or wants to uh whatever, it's maybe a control thing, so you know I don't know. I raised my children to believe in peace.
absolutely. Well,
uh,
I meant it more as a negative. I was basically saying usually men kind of push their way into the positions of persuade on the leadership.
yes, 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 that's true.
In socialist societies, it's usually men who run the parties,
Yeah,
because they don't let women run the parties.
yeah. Well, yeah,
Um,
but that's what I'm saying is
yeah,
it's the woman from the beginning that gives the boy the idea that he's going to grow up and be in charge.
right. Right.
If the woman, it was telling the daughters all the time, you're going to grow up and be in charge. This world belongs to us. You
Right.
will be the queen of everything. And women were raising their daughters to believe that, but of course, the partner, the husband, the man or whatever will come in with their ideas as well. But we could just as easily be training our children into a whole different kind of perception, but because of our societal norms, we're teaching our kids it's okay. It's okay for you to do the things that that oppress me. That
Exactly. Yeah, it's okay to do what not only is it okay to do it, but you're better off doing what everyone else does.
right. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
that it's okay, but if you don't do what everyone else does, it's gonna be very awkward.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I want you to succeed, and I want you to
Right.
be happy, and I want you, so if in order to do that, we're just going to go with the status quo
Right. My
because,
father always said, my father said, Wayne, don't go too far to the left, don't go too far to the right. Stay in the middle of the road, and you'll be all right.
yeah.
And there's a lot of truth to that. And it says with politics, that's how I am. But then again, I like to be. I mean, although I am kind of on the left, but I'm not, I try to stay away from being extreme on both sides. But I am extremist in a lot of ways. I mean, as you put it, the boring collective, the boring whole. I'm one of these people that says, find out which way the masses are going, and they go the other way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whichever way the masses are heading, or not that, or most people are going that way. I want to head that way, and it's not that there's a choice. It's just that's how I am.
Yes. Yes.
If,
Yes.
if most people think something, I go, oh, I don't think that at all. I don't know why. I just know that I'm different.
Me too.
You
And
know?
I think I'm a contrarian. I'm like,
Yeah,
well, whatever you tell me, I'm going to say, I think there might be something different.
yeah. That's
It,
what I do. No, it's just like I'm a misfit. I don't fit in anything. I don't fit in any category in any one category very well. And so it's sort of like I don't fit any one religion very well. I don't fit any political party very well. I don't fit, my whole setup in my family is odd. My wife making the money, and I'm a house. I work acting. I do this. I'm an anomaly.
yes. 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 Yes.
And it's fine. It's good. I
No,
mean, it's
yeah,
still something that
no, that's perfect.
yeah. I mean, that's what
To me, I mean, is well, because yes, maybe it might have been easier if you became an accountant. I don't
yeah.
know, but I don't think you would be happy.
No, accountant, God forbid. Maybe I don't know, like some sort of corporate, maybe I don't know. Like I can't man, what I want to be. It can be any of that nonsense. I
Right.
can't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a lawyer, you know.
yeah, maybe a lawyer, but then I'm doing law school.
Yeah,
I'm going to law school. If I could be a lawyer, but actually working, I'm being a lawyer. I'd be a lawyer.
yeah.
Well, I
Hey,
wouldn't mind being, the glorify, in the courtroom and so forth. That'd be kind of fun.
there's still room for creativity in all of
Yeah,
that.
that's true. Yeah, my wife, she's retired now, but she enjoyed her career. She used to
Yeah.
really get off on the big deals when they came through. Not a lot of money involved. Me when she came home, she said, this is a $600 million deal, and if I make a mistake, I'm gonna lose all the money. I'm in big trouble. That's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
heavy.
That's pretty heavy. Yeah, it is. That is.
And
And
then
she's
big
real
deal.
confident. She probably did a good job, and she
Yeah,
did.
yeah, she pulls
Real,
it off.
yeah.
She pulls it off,
Yeah.
and she's
Yeah.
running the whole thing. So she
Yeah.
she
So,
pulled it off, and she did a good job.
yeah. I
So
love it. That's wonderful. And yeah, I mean, that's me. I was an engineer, and I worked in a nuclear weapons plant. I worked for the nuclear weapons system, building plutonium bombs. That's pretty crazy.
yeah, sure.
I just don't think of, Lynn. Oh, Lynn is, a peaceful person. And yes, I am a peaceful person, but I also understand that if because of the way that history was going in the world, if we didn't develop and have nuclear weapons, then we would probably be speaking another language right now.
Probably. I was like, yeah. Well, setting, it's how it is.
That's just how it is.
Yeah, I mean, this in the Middle East. I mean, if like if the Israelis didn't have nukes, they'd be gone too. They'd be gone.
Yeah, yeah,
Because they're so small. They're half the size of Texas.
yeah,
They're just literally half the size of Texas. And so if they didn't have nukes, the only reason why they're all scared out there is they're afraid that the Israelis will use their nukes on them.
yeah,
So they're out. And so if we didn't have nukes, and the Russians would be all speaking Russian.
yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly. Yeah, and
I
and,
mean,
and
but then I mean, officially, we shouldn't. It's okay. Muslims will die. We come back. We die. We come back. I mean, it's not really happening in any house. So it's a comfort to know that it's not real. It takes the pressure off.
yes,
It takes the
yes,
pressure
it
of
is.
stressing out.
Yes, it is. Well, and I knew it all along too, Wayne. When I was working there and with that, because at that time I was, I had been a Buddhist, and, just really into my spiritual life. And I found myself very, uh, it was like a dream world. It was like being in a dream world, which it is a dream world, but it was like being, it was other earthly. It was not like your normal experience that you have going to work at an office or anything like that. It was going to a place where there was just a tremendous amount of extremely deadly material. And I would be right there with it, holding it, not holding obviously in my bare hand. No, no,
Did
no.
you ever see that Cheers episode where he comes in and he's like, in a job with poison, and I'm just kind of scared, and Sam goes, "Oh no, I'm sure it's fine. Sure it's fine. They watch out for that kind of stuff. Don't worry about it." He's like, "Okay, thanks, Sam. I feel better now." And he walks out, and all of a sudden they start cleaning up the place really fast. And the whole place was not scared of it. And you ever see that?
No, I didn't see
No, it's
that.
very funny. The whole place is like freaking out because he's toxic, and then all of a sudden they are within 3 seconds they do it really fast. It's
That
kind
is
of,
hilarious.
mhm. But yeah, and then here there's a bed bug outbreak.
Oh,
We not we good. Our house has not been touched, but a few houses out there have it. We just we're playing it cool.
but you don't have them.
No, we don't have
No,
it. No.
that is, we had that. I hate to go into this discussion, but yeah, we had that. My son-in-law, who stayed with us, he works for, for this company trimming trees, and they were out of town staying at some motel. And when he came back, he brought those little buggers, and oh my God, those are horrible. And we eradicated them. But it's just it took a lot. We
But
had,
they
because we,
survive.
yeah, they'll survive just about anything. The only thing that they don't survive is alcohol. Like you can put alcohol and water in a spray bottle and spray it on them, it'll kill them dead right
All
away
right. Well,
if you see them. But then also we had to steam. We've got two like big time steamers. We had to steam everything, because obviously the heat kills them, and their eggs and everything. But you got to do it over and over. It's not just something you do, once and it's done.
yeah.
Uh, and so I pity anybody that gets hooked up with those little buggers,
Yeah,
because
we don't have to think. I mean, I know itchy not. There's not having lice in your body. It's really weird. I guess.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
well, I had lice once in the past 5 years, 6 years, 10 years since 22, early in 2017, something like that. And that was it. I haven't had lice before that since I got it from my kids, obviously.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
But it's funny because I'm bald.
Oh man.
Over there,
That's when we live in this world with these
so
creatures, and
unfair.
we are their habitat.
Yeah.
That's
Unfair, man. If you're bald, literally, you shouldn't be allowed to have lice. God should have made a rule of the God should make. I want to see to it when I get to heaven. That's the first thing I'm going to talk to God about.
what happened to
Bald,
my hair.
bald people should not be able to get lice.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's just the funniest thing, because yeah, they're part of the natural world.
Mhm.
Certainly not anything that's, alien or anything, but man, you don't want to get involved with it. I mean,
Well, it is really far too different from us. It's hard to relate to a bed bug. You know, it's hard to really relate to a bed bug. I mean, they're really different from us. So,
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Although, all they are, well, you know what though? They, we are their source, their food source and their habitat.
yeah, where would be the from?
Yeah, yeah. We don't get anything out of them other than, I don't know. It's quite maddening. I mean, we had to sleep, we had to sleep in our clothes. We had to have like covered from head to toe to,
Really?
yeah, and it just was such a struggle getting rid of those things. And I mean, we tried, there's no powder, there's no spray, there's no, none of these things that they advertise. Nah, you
Doesn't
don't
work.
don't waste your money. Just, buy get a steamer and some alcohol. And
Well,
telling you,
if we ever get it happens in our house, we'll hire somebody to do it.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure. But the thing is too, like when you're traveling,
Oh, yeah.
gotta look out. You're staying at a hotel. I mean, that's how they came to us, was from a hotel. Now I go every time if I go to a hotel, every time I go in a hotel room, first thing I'm doing is pulling back the covers, looking in because they don't they hide in the hardware of the bed and stuff. So,
Oh,
oh my God,
the bed frame, I mean,
yeah, the bed frame, yeah,
oh,
or underneath the light fixtures. They don't hang out in the soft part of the bed at all.
well, that's right. You know, at least it was just to make sure that they didn't get it. Her mother was in the car, so she
Yeah,
put the car on the heat.
yeah,
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 there's a heat wave here, so she put the car on the heat. The car
yeah.
was 1,000 degrees, so if they're in there, they're probably dead now.
Yeah, nope, it don't work even that way. I mean, we we did we you know how like we put like our clothes and bedding and everything like that in black plastic bags and put them out in the sun where the heat from the sun would penetrate through. And we just you can become inventive, believe me, and
Yeah,
you get a lot of stuff on the internet, get a
right.
lot of ideas. So anyway, let's look at our book.
Yeah, okay, okay. We might do a little reading.
Enough of this. Oh my gosh. Oh, we're reading.
Oh, I added the page here. Where's
Yeah, okay.
yeah,
And this is what we're reading is The Impersonal Life,
no,
but
we're
this
reading
is book
the way out.
two,
Right,
The
okay, right.
Way Out, and we're in section one called The Law. So do you want to read? Let's see. How do I close this? Okay, there we go. Oh, did you guys see that when it came? Okay, yeah, you can see that when it comes up.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. All right, so we're here is when the fact is. Do you want me to read or you want to
Yeah,
read?
no, you're right.
Okay. All right, let me take a sip of my drink here. All right. When the fact is, these thoughts exist to you only when you let them into your mind. That is, they are of importance to you only when you give them attention and recognition. That's what we're just reading today's lesson.
Yeah.
What I pay attention to happen. Yeah.
Because thoughts projected. Whatever thought you have then whatever thought you entertain the most will project it outward.
Yeah, exactly. But on the other hand, their power over you and their life can quickly be nullified by simply knowing the law and refusing to feed them longer with life power by giving them further attention or interest. And it should not be necessary to state that voicing such thoughts definitely and speedily out manifests them, which means basically they manifest.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the spoken word is far more potent than the thought.
Is it?
Above all else,
He's saying spoken word. Usually, in the thought, it's thought that's more important than the spoken word. Thoughts are the more, but if you Christian Science and religious science, it's a thought.
right?
He's saying no, the word, the spoken word is where the power is. And if you think about it, if you refuse to speak certain words, then the word will eventually have to retreat.
Yeah, That's true.
The thoughts will have to retreat because there's nowhere for them they don't come out. There's nowhere for them to go.
Right.
So the thought, so really that's the final defense is the mouth, is the words.
Exactly. And exactly. And do you hear the thoughts as words? The
Yeah,
thoughts
yeah,
are in your mind, you hear them as words.
right. Yeah.
And so it actually is spoken, even when we read these things out loud, the lesson, when we read it,
Well,
we
that's
say,
the word.
oh, I trust my brother who's one with me. That actually, we hear it.
Yeah, that's spoken word. Absolutely, it's like when in the Bible when they didn't have the you heard the word of God and that's how you were saved, because they didn't write it down. Most of them didn't have it written down.
Right.
There was no printing press. So a few of them had that written on a rock or something, and that was it. So he would say you have to hear it, and that it would hear the word of God, and that's how you know it. It was preached to them, and
That's
they
right.
better and they great memories. Now now nothing is now we hear we read it for the most part, or we speak it out loud, and that's the spoken word. And I like the idea that he's if we want to change something, we speak differently. We speak something different. We don't have to fight the
Right.
negative.
Because we're speaking our world.
Right, exactly.
So yeah.
And it
And
was
and that's exactly what is the Bible said. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and God spake and said, "Let there be light."
right. Exactly. And
Everything was
then there's
brought in.
light.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
call it
not as
a,
if God spoke the world into existence. And, he could have done anything else. He could have just, birthed the world into existence. There was a lot of myths and legends back then. That was a goddess birthing the world into existence.
yes,
They had a lot, but this was very specific. This was almost as if it was not deliberately not attached to the God. Let there be light. He speaks his word into existence. And there was light, and the light he split the light in half. He was very, very almost human, the God of the Bible, when he's first.
when he
It's
was,
almost as if the power, it almost is as if it was channel material, very similar to Joseph Bennett's God.
yeah,
It grabs you by the neck. He says, let's pay attention to me. That's why the Bible is so popular, because the book doesn't let you call it a myth or a legend. It's not as if you read the Bible and that's a nice myth. It's too much. It gets into your head too much, and that's the whole point of the Bible. The whole point of the New Testament was to convince you Jesus is the Messiah. It's not to actually make you feel that you read a nice little myth. The Bible says that, and we're writing these New Testaments in order to convince you Jesus is the Messiah. So
right.
the whole thing is almost propaganda. The whole thing is trying to get you to believe something.
Were you and I talking last week about asking AI
Yeah.
uh
So yeah,
give us a version of the Bible without Paul?
yeah, I did that. I did that. I did that many times. I say, what would the Bible, what would religion be like if the Bible had no letters of Paul?
Yeah, yeah,
And it just basically said that it would be much more community based and religious deeds based and loving. And then he was loving, but it wouldn't be so focused on the death and resurrection.
right.
Movies for Christ crucified. It'd be much more focused on more good action and sharing, community sharing, and so forth. That's what Saint Peter was really into, and John, all the apostles. He focused much more on salvation by no works and stuff like that. That was much more Paul.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, he was had a definite political bias, I think, or a cultural bias, and
Yeah.
so he and he was out. He had a lot of these communities and was trying to maintain them or uh, focus them, and they were people that had all kinds of other religious beliefs. They weren't just Jews that he
No,
was.
no, absolutely. He was trying to get people that weren't Jews for the most part to
Yeah,
become You become to worship the God of Israel.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
he came up with the first thing he did was say, all right, no more circumcisions. Don't worry about it.
yeah,
That's the first thing he said. You circumcise in your heart. So all the Greeks were like, oh, good, thank God. Because no one wanted to get circumcision at their age, when they're older. So they were happy about that. And then the whole thing was focused much more on Christ crucified than on being in Jewish groups. And much more focused on being in groups in Christian in communities. It was much more focused on the individual and his relationship with Christ and whether that his salvation. You know, and Paul and the letters of Paul, you're right. I don't think he even perceived it would be in the Bible. He was just writing letters to different churches. But he also he even said at one point, "This is my gospel." But it's a pretty gospel. It's pretty cool. I mean, basically, it's like they don't worry about you off the hook.
there. My internet went down.
I did it. I thought I was talking too
Okay,
much.
okay, my internet went down for a minute. So,
Mhm.
but
No, I was just saying, his gospel is different. Basically what he said was that the Israelites couldn't do what they were told to do by God, and so the whole point was that they realized that they could not keep the law, and so Jesus became died so you wouldn't have to keep the law anymore, and you just be free of the law, and you could be and then receive Christ as salvation.
yeah,
Problem I have with that theory is it means the Israelites were told for 1,500 years to do this stuff, and they can never do it. That's not very nice of God.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, what kind of father does that to the kids? Hey,
Well,
run this marathon. And then 2 years, 3 years, 5 years later, you have bad legs. You can't run that marathon. I wanted to show you that you really need me.
yeah. Oh, yeah. That God was tricky trickster. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, they'd lock me up.
Yeah,
Yeah, they put me say something if I had my kid, if made my kid run and he couldn't run because he had no legs or he had bad legs.
yeah,
And that was Paul's basic theory. Is we can't keep the law. Now, in fact, he has a lot that's a good point. I mean, I have no problem with the idea that we can't, we need the Spirit to just rescue us. And we need the Spirit, we need the higher self, or otherwise we're just a mess. And I like that. I like the idea. I think he's right. But as you said, he was culturally biased, and so he used his own tradition and he used it in sort of a negative way almost. I don't know how to put it, but he made fast and loose with his own tradition.
yeah,
And since he was a Jew, he figured, and he didn't think the whole world was going to be reading these letters. He was trying to convince Romans to convert. Romans probably liked that
yeah, yeah,
he was picking on the Jews. He probably liked that.
yeah.
The Romans. Oh yeah, he's a cool Jew. He's from Rome and he's agrees with us on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, he said you don't have to keep kosher with the food.
Right, exactly.
Basically, yeah, all the things that were culturally Jewish that were very specifically culturally, he just kind of said, nope, you don't have to do that.
And the thing was that's what the Romans wanted to hear.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah,
Jesus never said any of that because Jesus was not, even
no,
though Jesus was still a Jew the whole time.
he said the opposite. He said anyone that teaches anyone not to keep these laws is going to be the least in heaven. The least
Yeah,
in heaven. Anyone. So Paul's teaching the opposite of what Jesus taught. But he said that anyone teaches anything but my gospel is cursed.
yeah,
So he admitted this is my gospel. I mean,
yeah,
this is the gospel according to me, and my gospel is different than everyone else's. And even if an angel comes down and says this is true gospel, that angel will be accursed. He's a very confident guy.
I guess.
You know, and he should have been. I mean, basically, he wrote most of the New Testament, and he changed the world.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So he was a short. Supposedly, he was a short, deformed Jew,
Yep.
and he wrote a bunch of letters that changed the world. So who knows?
Yeah. Well, we had a lot of great things to, like the Crusades, to
Yeah,
aim for all of that. So, it's just,
yeah. You say it's good Lord.
oh my gosh,
Yeah, well,
colonialism, missionaries all over the world.
I know, man. Well,
Being,
yeah, it was like how Jesus said, people, Jesus, he interpreted Jacob's ladder.
hmm
Angels going up and down the ladder. He interpreted it that that's what the Son of Man, the Son of Man will be like Jacob's ladder. And I read an interpretation of that where it's like people will be going up and down on the name of Jesus. People do good things and bad things in the name of Jesus. Up and down, up and down, up and down. So down being bad, being good for it. So if you think it that way, it's true. In the name of Jesus, man, a lot of those are bad things.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, exactly. A
Oh my gosh.
lot of those are good things in the name of Jesus too, though.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Uh, so let me keep reading there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
Because we got to start talking about speech. Above all else, you should guard carefully your speech, voicing nothing you do not want to see manifest. Always remember, however, that by preventing such thoughts entering the mind, there will be no impulse to voice them.
Well, so he's saying, start with the mind.
Right.
So the first line of defense is the mind. The last line of defense is the mouth.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And if your mind is clear, then you're not going to be saying insane things.
yeah, exactly.
So that you can now see now that it is all a matter of consciousness of thinking and harboring the right kind of thoughts, those you wish to out manifest, and of letting into your mind no thoughts you do not want to manifest in your body or affairs. And perhaps you can also see that what is ordinarily called thinking is only the admitting into your mind of thoughts that originated chiefly in other minds and which you, of course, attracted to you. This is also true of all negative, inharmonious, and destructive thoughts. There must be something in you that attracts them, or they would not come. And this just totally reminds me of the obstacles to peace, and the attraction to guilt, the attraction to death. We are attracting these things by focusing on them. And again, today's lesson where it just says perception has a focus. And whatever you focus on, that's what's going to be presented to you.
And
It's not mystical or anything. It's just cause and effect.
this is all true, all negative and harmonious. It's as if I like the thoughts in your head the thoughts originate chiefly in other minds, and which you,
Yeah.
of course, tries to. So any thoughts that you have in your head, you don't even know if they originated with you.
No,
They probably didn't,
not a single one.
because the thoughts are it's all programming from when you're younger, and then yeah, you get older, there's more programming, more programming. You can't tell the difference between what your thoughts and other thoughts are.
Yeah. And it's programming through words. So like right away you have to name everything. Oh, mom,
Exactly.
mama, daddy, ball, red, blue, one, two,
Mhm.
three. This is how we indoctrinate from the very beginning, program all this stuff in, and there it is. Here's your world. Here's your world. And in France they call it different things wherever it is, but it doesn't matter because it's our definition. It's what we think it is. So yeah, uh, whatever we attract, whatever we call for comes to us.
Yep.
And that's the same as what is it called? Responsibility for sight.
Now, of course, they have the negative way is this: if you call forth things in positive way by saying, I allow myself to manifest abundance and love and pleasure and so forth. And then you can get specific if you want. I'd like to have a car, or I want a job, or I want that, I want a relationship with that person, and then you name the person and so forth. However you want to manifest. What do you do? Or the worst way is like, I want to get that person out of my life. I want to attack that person, and that's the ego's version of it.
Right.
I want to go after. I'm going to use my words to attack. So I'm going to call forth things. I'm going to call forth things, but I'm not going to do it by paying attention to not paying attention to the thing. I'm going to do it by paying attention to the thing,
Yeah.
by attacking the thing. It's almost, I'm gonna use it. It's almost like, like there's a good witch and the bad witch. And there's the good guy, the guy, cop and the bad cop, and then you can either attack the problem and head on, and I mean, and I mean in a good way. But so say I allow myself to get you out of my life, and I hope you suffer. And if you put enough attention on that, something like that will happen with the person probably.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you probably, but this is for a little while at least, and you want to feel powerful and strong. That's the ego saying, "Oh yeah, yeah, how about that guy? He's in your way too. Push him out of the way.
Oh, geez.
Use your thoughts. Push that. You do whatever you want with the I was just telling you that you can hurt people if you want. It's all a dream anyway. That's you. That person's you. So slap yourself in the head if you want. You know what I mean? Do
Yeah.
whatever you want. Cheat that person. Lie to that person. It's okay. You lie to yourself. You can do that if you want. Then there's of course the other way. Let the person do what they want to do. Put the person in front of you. Let the person try to, put wear rabbit ears on you, yellow at you. Do whatever they want. And just don't pay attention. Put
Just
your
love
attention.
that.
You just
Just,
put your attention on the outcome you do want.
yep.
And you say blabber on if you'd like some. Do what you want to do. Do it with anger. Do what you want to do. Attack mind. I couldn't care less. Yell. I hear you. I just don't agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that you're not my thought. You're not my. You don't represent me. You're not my thinking. You're not my thoughts. So just keep on yelling if you want, or leave. Because you get two choices. Something. You can have a beer if you want. Have a drink.
Uh,
I'm not gonna follow your advice.
yeah. I mean that's the choices that we have. So, but what we want a choice is to recognize that uh, everything is happening for our best interest, and nothing is occurring that is out of the plan. So, these temporary hills and valleys we're going through now, and bumps in the road that make it seem like wow, this is hard, this is bad, things are going wrong. I heard somebody was saying the other day the world is getting worse and terrible things are happening, and I was thinking, no, really,
That's the
that's
same thing as attacking the problem.
right.
Same
That's your
thing.
world. Yeah, your world is that. My world is getting better.
Yeah,
I'm,
exactly.
I'm
Yeah,
seeing more
because
light and love.
you're looking at the goal. You're looking past the problem.
Right.
You're looking
Right.
beyond the problem and seeing the self beyond the problem. But
Exactly.
as opposed to seeing the problem and I'm then saying I allow myself to destroy the problem. I allow myself to hate you, and I allow myself to drown you and overwhelm you, and you focus and you put your head and your eyes so close to the problem that that's all you see.
Yep.
As opposed to putting yourself and panning out and seeing this problem is so small,
Right. Yeah.
and I'm so much bigger than this problem. How am I gonna do if I can flick it away?
Yeah. And I can, because I can just, you know, what is it? Somebody told a joke. Uh, how do you, uh, pick up an elephant with a pair of tweezers? Well, first you get a telescope and turn it backwards so you're looking through the big end. And when you look through it, the elephant becomes teeny, teeny, tiny. You pick it up with the tweezers.
Exactly. It's like how you switch an element with your fingers. You cover one eye.
Uh-huh.
I swish you. You ever do that? It looks like your fingers are right over his head. Try it. Do it with a person. You cover one eye, and you lose all depth perception.
Yeah, yeah,
So it
uh,
looks like your fingers are over his head.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what I was saying. A lot they were watching. I swish you, I swish you.
Squishing you. Yep, yep, I'm squishing you. Exactly. And, I only have one eye anyway, so I don't even
Oh.
have to close one eye. But
You
yeah,
switch people. You switch people whenever you want.
I just saw somebody doing that, something of that same nature, with, some, it was on TikTok or something. It was pretty funny. It made me laugh. But yeah, that's exactly it. It's perspective.
Yes, exactly.
And that's all we have to do is switch our perception.
Yes, just
Uh,
I mean, it's not just like switching perception, like a pizza, nah, I got a hamburger. I mean, that's a little. It's shifting your perception from ego to Christ,
yes,
from from negative to positive, and it's like it's a little bit complicated in the sense it's not there's not a set of things that changes to. It's not that it's a 10 rules of how to change and what to change it to or what positive is. You know what I mean?
yeah,
One of the ways I look at it is that, think of it positive as being certain. No
that's
matter
right.
what you like, every choice that you make is fine. It's good. The
That's
problem is
right.
we don't believe in the choices we make.
That's right.
So positive thinking, I say, is certainty thinking.
Yeah.
Positive
And,
equals certainty as opposed to being happy. So any choice I make, I believe in it.
yeah, I trust.
I trust it. It's like as acting when your choice
Yeah.
as an actor. Every choice you make as an actor can work fine. You have to commit to it.
Yeah. Well, and knowing that really we don't have any say in the outcome anyway, because it's all a dream.
Yeah.
This is
But
this is a story. It's like a movie, and you can't go in the theater and say, "Oh, I want to change the ending of this movie," or "I don't like
mm,
this scene, so
mhm.
take this out." You can't do that. It's right there, so it's already been done.
You can get
So
involved with it emotionally, but indirectly, that's about it.
yeah, someone said something to me yesterday. Uh, Zeta was talking about it. And she said, instead of like, yeah, we look at the world like we're looking at it projected out onto a screen, but instead of seeing it as projected out on the screen, experience it as flowing through you. This movie is flowing through you.
Well,
And
you're the projector.
right. And and experience it at that this is coming through me. It's not out there, it's not going out there, it's coming through me. And I practiced that. It was really helpful, I think. And I think that's kind of a the ways that we're given. I just saw it yesterday too. I was listening to Ken Wapnick. I'm marking the book because I don't think we're going to read much more.
Yeah.
But I realized I was listening to, well, let's see, I wasn't listening to Ken. Who was I listening to? Some other teacher, anyways. I was listening, and uh, I recognized, oh, Keith Kavanaugh, maybe. Anyway, I recognized all he's doing and all Ken was doing and all these teachers are doing is trying to convince me that I am what I am.
Mhm.
They're not trying to teach me that I'm something that I am. They're not trying to show me something. They're just trying to convince me that am what I already am. They're
Mhm.
like, don't you see this is what you are? Don't you know this is what you are? You are this. Can you experience this? And I realize that that's all they're trying to do is,
And all the person, all you're trying to do, and all I'm trying to do is with him that we're not.
yeah,
But without
yeah,
we are.
yeah, yeah.
So that's what the ego tries to do. He goes, no, I'm not who I am. I'm somebody else.
Nope, nope, nope. That ain't me. Oh my
That's how the fight goes down, because the ego's terrified of being so that he's really other people.
yeah, yeah.
You
That's
know?
hilarious.
And so that's life, though. So what are you gonna do? I mean, that's why this world doesn't work, and this world won't work. That's why I separate with mothers. I go the other way. I want individually we all get out of here, and eventually, when I move into a place where the collective is working well, that will be in a higher dimension.
Yeah,
I might even still be here. You may see me here, but it
right.
won't be. Still, it would be a higher dimension where I'm living.
Well, because you're there right now.
Maybe that's the case. I mean, it could
You
be
are
a
there right
result. That's
now.
where I am. That's why I don't. I'm not, maybe in the past lives I was in politics for all I know.
Yeah, yeah. But right now you are exactly where you are. And where could you possibly be other than in the place where God put you in the first place,
Right.
which is in heaven, and you are the Holy Son of God. So if you're not experiencing yourself as that, then that's the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem. But that is a comfort to know that I set it up this way. It's what I
Yeah,
wanted.
yeah, yeah.
I'm the Joker and the King. That's why I heard that expression once, and I liked it. I'm the Joker and the King.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
I'm the Joker who set the whole thing up, and I'm the King who's watching over me.
That's right. It's
I'm
all the same.
safe. I'm safe as can be. And, it's difficult to understand how I could be somebody that I can't experience being. And how I can experience myself being somebody that I'm not.
And yet you experience yourself all the time being somebody that you're not.
Yeah,
And that means,
absolutely. That's the thing. It's odd to be in a situation where you're constantly experiencing yourself and you're experiencing the part of you that's not real.
yeah,
And the part that's real, you don't experience.
that is
This is
hilarious.
very odd,
It is very odd.
But that's the setup. That's what if we set up any differently, we know. So now we set up so we could know. That's how you do it.
That's it.
We're very smart. We're very, very good at this.
We're very, very good at this. That's right.
But so we'll get out of here eventually. Though. We shall. Miracles happen everywhere and all the time. So,
That's right.
mm,
Absolutely.
mm.
All right, my
All
friend.
right.
Thank
All right,
you.
everyone. Thank you so much, Lynn. Again, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Whether or not we did
Oh,
a
I
shoot,
know it.
even if we don't read that much, it's always I never know what I'm talking about with you. You never know.
I know it's so much fun because I love it because you have all these interests of other things as well, and it's just fun to kind of go into it and look at those things. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I really appreciate you. So all right, well, thank you so much, Wayne. I love
Okay,
you.
yes, you too. And I'll see you. I'll see you
All right.
tomorrow. I guess I haven't. I think Thursday also. I have a throwback to put up, so that could be kind of cool.
Okay, all right. I'll put my
All right.
camera on too so I
All
can
right.
say hi.
All right. All right. See ya.
Let's see you. Love you, brother.
Pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Peace. Love you.
Oh, here I'm on the wrong. How did I do?